viewers, I welcome you all to our channel Best Notes Tutorials. In this video, we will learn what is Eugene Onegin and what are the points which are discussed which are important for UGC NET, especially for this year. In this video, we will talk about Eugene Onegin. This is written by Alexander Pushkin. Alexander Pushkin was a Russian writer, and what is there in this novel, whether it is in a prose form or in a verse form, all those things we are going to learn in this video. Before we start with the topic, that is Eugene Onegin, let us talk about the writer at first. Alexander Pushkin was born on 6th June 1799 at Moscow, which is under Russian Empire. He was from aristocratic family. So from these two lines you might get question on this date of birth, place, alright, and then whether he belonged to aristocratic family or middle class family. Okay, let's talk more important thing here. Even though he was a Russian man, his ancestors were African. He was grandson of an African man. His name is Abraham Ganibal. Abraham Ganibal was his grandfather and he was from Africa. Now why he was from Africa, we will learn here in this notes only. See, his grandfather who was from Africa, he was an army general of Russia later on. He was born in Cameroon. We are talking about Abraham Ganibal, who was born in Africa, Cameroon. His grandfather was kidnapped by Ottomans. Ottomans are from Ottoman Turks, whose story we have read in history as well. Let's move ahead. But later on he was gifted to Russian Tsar Peter the Great. This Abraham Ganibal was kidnapped by Ottoman Empire heads. Now from here all the points are important. First of all, name of his grandfather, then what is the occupation that he held, then who was kidnapped by whom, and to whom it was gifted. Last point would be Alexander Pushkin was proud of African ancestry. Though he loved Russia, he lived in different countries like France, Germany, Africa, and so on. So he loves being there, and in the writing also we find it is farrago. It is like mixture of all the culture. Let's come to the next page. The Moor of Peter the Great, My Genealogy, speaks about Pushkin's lineage. This is here, My Genealogy. Now these two books tells more about Alexander Pushkin, how he was from Africa, etc. Pushkin grew in and around St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg is one of the city of Russian Empire. So two things you need to remember. One is Moscow, where he was born, and St. Petersburg, where his career and his further life became crucial, because here he found members who sometimes expelled him from the country and shifted him to southern part of Russia, and so on. Let's move to the next point. Alexander Pushkin knew French language. Now, how he knew French language, let me tell you. In his home, his governess was a French lady. Therefore, he learned this language, that is French, from his governess or maid, or the one who looks after children. So these servants took a great role to play in Pushkin's life. He had a very great writing talent, which he showed from very beginning of his life. Now, after learning French language, he translated whatever views he had for French language and their culture and other stuffs into Russian. So Russian people also became aware of another culture as well. Now, when he was in France, he learned Voltaire, Diderot, and Rousseau. These three people were the philosophers of France, and they wrote about social development. Socialist viewpoint was promoted. Liberal attitude was promoted by their writings, and that is what Alexander Pushkin became later on, which was not liked by government, and therefore he was sent out from St. Petersburg as well. Now, when he was sent out of St. Petersburg, what happened? He went to southern part of Russia. Now, these are the southern part of Russia: Caucasus, Crimea, and Moldova. Now, here he learned, the situation of southern part of Russia, and he found that he must be a part of Greek Revolution. So he became a Freemason. Freemason means a member who rebels, okay, who supports the rebellion that people are involved into. So he also became one of the Freemason, and then he fought against the invaders of Greeks. Now, in this revolution, he was against Ottoman Turks. Not only that, in this, during this period, what happened? There was a problem which occurred in his life, and that was he seduced governor's wife. Governor's wife was seduced by Alexander Pushkin, and where it had happened? It had happened at Odessa. Authorities forced him back. Now they could not keep him because it was an immoral act. A rebellion, okay, who is involving in fight or outrage for justice, he himself was indulged into injustice practices. Now, Russian authorities could not send him away from his hometown. He wanted them to come back, but they wanted to put a proper vigilance, proper watch upon Alexander Pushkin. It was like in Hindi, Nazar Band. Okay, they had to be, the writer had to be in front of them. There was no freedom, but eventually we find that this proved to be very important life phase for Alexander Pushkin. How? We will learn here. Now he was sent back to his family, where he had a great estate on it, which was given by his uncle after his death. Now he came back to this estate again, and then he became gradually a proper poet. In this house, he became all alone, and he started working on his craft or the skills of writing poetry. So, he was no longer lonely anymore. In 1875, now there was a coup against the government known as Decembrist revolt. There was a revolt where Alexander Pushkin had to participate. Now, many of the aristocrats went against czars because facilities towards aristocrats were taken away from them. So they revolted, but czars did not listen at all. The positioned people did not listen at all. Pushkin was in trouble because of his one of the poems. Now, he used to write poetry, as I told you. Since childhood, he used to write, and he wrote against czars as well. Fortunately, he became famous in the court of czars. He became popular because the czars liked the poetries that he had written for the government. And another reason for this might be, if he will be taken into their government, if appointment is given to him as a poet in their royal court, then he might not write against them. So this was also the plan of czars, and he was taken into the system. In 1828, he met with Natalia Gonharova. Now, she was just of 16 years. This was the girl who became wife of Alexander Pushkin. She was such a beautiful lady that all the Russians wanted to have her association. Pushkin marries Natalia after 3 years. Now, Pushkin, throughout his life, he seduced beautiful wives of others. This was the bad habit of Alexander Pushkin, because he used to sleep with almost all the wives that he met. Okay, so what happened when he married Natalia? Even Natalia had affair with a French man. A French man pursued Natalia, and this had become unbearable for Alexander Pushkin. But he was not realizing that karma plays its own role, and whenever it is saturation point, it comes out. Now Alexander Pushkin had to face this, and therefore he became so much angry. Now what he did, uh, he challenged. Okay, he challenged this Frenchman for a duel. Duel means fight. Okay, pistol fight. So in this pistol fight, he was badly wounded, but he did not give up. After 2 days, Pushkin died because of the wound that he received at the age of 37. At very early age, he dies. And while dying, he just says that there is no heroism in fighting. Unless and until we are able to save somebody's life, there's no point in fighting and enduring him or her. So Pushkin was the one who stole all the Russians' heart. Now, why he had become so much famous compared to other writers or poets? See, the reason was that he had knowledge about all the cultures like French, Germany, Italian culture, etc. So what happened? He used to write in all the themes which liked and which was relatable to all the world, entire world. Hence, he had become very famous, and it is very close to the heart of Russians. Now, let us move to the summary of the verse novel. To the reader, it seems that Alexander Pushkin tells his own story to the audience. Now, there is a question that whether he was able to predict his death, which is going to happen at the age of 37, or it was just a wild guess. We will learn in the story. Now, let us move to the Eugene Onegin. The famous novel Eugene Onegin, there's a slight spelling mistake, it's not R, it's N. Eugene Onegin, it's a novel in verse. Verse means in a poetry form. The way we see poetry is written in a proper meter and then length, word limit, etc. So all those things are seen in Eugene Onegin as well. This was masterpiece, and it was written in exile. Exile means when somebody is trapped at some place. And we know Alexander Pushkin was trapped in his own house, and he was been watched properly, and there was no freedom at all. Whatever he had to do within the house itself. Now this is from the capital of Russia, that is Moscow. While working on Onegin in such places as Odessa and family estates of Mikhailovsko and Boldino, Pushkin occasionally paused to work on other pieces. Now, when he was exiled, then he wrote about everything and included in Eugene Onegin. Now, the final part of the book were published in 1831, and complete edition of the book appeared in 1833 and with minor revision in 1837. So when in the examination it comes, when it reappeared, then you will write 1833. When it was revised, 1837. When it was published, it is 1831. So 31, 33, 37. Please remember 31, 33, 37. Okay. After going through Eugene Onegin, we can guess that Pushkin had predicted his death beforehand. Now, as we know that at last there was a shooting challenge which was accepted by the main protagonist of the story, and he was wounded, who was already wounded. This is what it is mentioned here. He died on 10th February 1837 in St. Petersburg, Russian Empire. So this was the place which is found in Russia, and in his own country he dies on 10th February 1837. And this year was also the publication year of Eugene Onegin. In this novel, we get four major core questions. First one is human existence nothing but a contradiction? What does this mean now? It means we long for happiness. We want happiness, but are we true to ourselves? Do we say we want happiness instead of anything else? No. We just talk about money and we think that money can buy our happiness. So this is contradictory. Our heart wants happiness and our personality, which is shown in the society, wants money. So this is contradictory. And let's move to the second one. Do we all want happiness or struggle and anguish? Now, this question we need to make it to ourselves whether we want happiness, struggle, or anguish. Anguish means great pain. Alright, so happiness is the answer. But happiness will not come unless and until we struggle, and it should be painful struggling. Only the general struggle is not going to give you success at all. So, happiness is the key thing that we need to imbibe from the society and from within as well. Our learned smart people are really stupid. There are two R's, please remove it. Are learned smart people really stupid? Yes, they are, because after being educated, they have burden to be there in their position. So if they will not do that, then there will be problem again. Do modern people suppress their natural inclination? Very much true. They do suppress their natural inclination. They are running after money day and night. Nobody has time, be it youngster, be it old people. They don't have time. What do they have? They just have time to spare with their beloved ones, but no one is the taker there. The third question that is posed by the writer is, are learned, smart people really stupid? The answer is yes, because they get education for earning money, not to be happy. They don't long for happiness, rather, they long for money, which buys means of temporary happiness. So, obviously, the educated, smart people, so called smart people, are really stupid. Do modern people suppress their natural inclination? Yes. Fourth question is this, and it is right. Modern people, they suppress their natural inclination because they don't want to show their inner desire to anybody, because of which a lot of problem is caused. If, say for example, if somebody is not wanting to get married, the society is such that they will force them to get married. If somebody doesn't want to go to school, society forces them. So there are other means also. Even if a child doesn't go to school, then there are other means by which he can be taught. Alright. Same goes with marriage also. If somebody is not getting married, then what they can do? They can take help of a nurse during old age. Alright. And invest in that. Invest in themselves. First of all, to get good health, and then to keep money for their future endeavors as well. But here what is happening? It is, our mindset is made such that we feel that only our life partner is going to help us during our old age, which is not true. In some cases, we have seen that whenever adversity occurs in couple's life, very early, the partner leaves. So it is not reliable, and one should not be relying on it. Instead of this, we can keep option for it as well. We get married if it is possible. If not, then there are other ways by which we can spend our old age time. I'm talking about keeping a nurse and getting service from her. Okay, so society is trying to make us like very stereotypical, because of which our society is ruining. So our natural desire, our natural inclination is towards what that is being hampered here. Now let us move to the main characters of the novel. First, first one is Pushkin. Pushkin himself figures in a novel and he is the protagonist. He is present as a friend of Onegin and an admirer of Tatiana. Tatiana, who is she, we will learn. She is also one of the characters. Now, here Pushkin is kept aside. First one is Onegin, Eugene Onegin, and his helper, or you can say supporting actor, is Pushkin. So, why did he do that? We will learn in analysis. Now, let us talk about Eugene Onegin. Eugene Onegin is a charming and stylish young man around 26 years. He is very charming because of his age and because of his maintenance of smartness. He is very stylish because he is a city boy. He pays attention to his appearance minutely. He always sees that he is well dressed and he is ready for party. He is speaking in a very meticulous, smart way so that people get attracted towards him. Somewhere he is bored of high society life. Now, every day it was his routine to go to parties, meet with people, and seduce them and come back. Okay, now what happens in this novel? He does the same and he gets bored, first of all. Now, this shows that the life in city is very temporary. People get tired of the lifestyle and come back to countryside, and this is valid to all the people of entire world. Okay, those who are from countryside, they love it. It has not been destroyed yet, and city life ruins people. They are there just for earning money and nothing else. Peace and tranquility can be received only and only from countryside. Now, Eugene Onegin had alienated from country life. He wants to come back to it. As and keen reader of Byron, he admires Byron. He had been to different places, so when he was in Byron's place, he admires his writings and he wants to be like Byron. Next character is Vladimir Lensky. Vladimir Lensky is a fiery young poet. Fiery means he has energy of youth. See, his age only 18 years. He writes more and more and more. He wants to be very famous in his field. Now, he is an amateurist writer, but his feelings are genuine. He wants to project his poetries, his verses in a very meticulous way, but somewhere he is lagging because he is just a newcomer. He is amateurist. He loves Olga. This Olga is very lovely lady, but her love is not genuine. She loves everybody. We will come to her character also. Here you just learn that Vladimir Lensky was in love with Olga, a proponent of German romanticism. Now, he was one of the proponent of German romanticism. So when we see Pushkin and Vladimir Lensky, we find that there are slight similarities, okay, because they like literature. Let's move to the next character, and this is Tatiana or Tanya Larin. Tatiana Larin or Tanya Larin. Now, she is a very wistful, contemplative, and withdrawn daughter. Now, she is intelligent, very intelligent, and she is very contemplative. Contemplative means the one who thinks and takes judgment. It's not that her decisions are taken in haste. No, she takes time to come to a conclusion and then she takes any step. So, she was such kind of lady. She is very withdrawn daughter because of some reasons that happened in her life. What were those? We will learn. Now, she is the daughter of a provincial land owner. They have a small land. Tatiana has a small land in the story, okay, we are talking about in the story, and she maintains those. She has a pure, honest heart and loves nature. Now, she, being a country girl, she knows everything about her area, that is, forest, medicinal plants, and this and that. Now, she's in love with nature because of its variety of uses. A deeply engrossed reader for French romance novels. Now, she is a deeply engrossed reader. That means she reads novel now and then whenever she gets time. Though she gets less time in kitchen, she manages how to read the book. I welcome you all to our channel Best Notes Tutorials. In this video, we will learn what is Eugene Onegin and what are the points which are discussed which are important for UGC net, especially for this year.